how do you suggest people to kind of look at locations, some of the gotchas? For example, thinking back at the properties that you owned before, location was worse than you think it was. Like, what would you kind of do differently? How do you actually pick locations?
Yeah, so I mean, we look at the stuff we're looking at right now is kind of your A minus B plus varieties, so we don't have to worry about crime as much
Mhm.
on those. But we do look at crime just to make sure that that looks okay. We're looking at, access, can you actually find the property? Some of the, from Google Street View and all that, or just at Google Maps, you're like, oh, it looks like it's a good location. Then you drive by and you're like, where is it? I don't know.
Mhm.
We're looking at, visibility. We're looking at location of schools. We're looking at school ratings. We're looking at home values, and then comparing that to rents and things like that. So
Mhm.
we've gotten a lot more sophisticated. I would say, especially over the last 2 years, there was one good thing about COVID is deal flow. I guess good or bad, but deal flow kind of went away that
Mhm.
summer, and so we did a whole lot of we didn't just sit around. We were doing a whole lot of research, and we were
Mhm.
trying to constantly get better. And so we've kind of developed some. So what came of that, besides doing few webinars a week, and we got
Mhm.
really good at that,
Yeah.
was we developed some tools that can help us better analyze. And so some of them are what I kind of touched on, as far as comparing home values to rent and what that looks like over time. We
Mhm.
do look at household income.
Yeah.
Household income can be a little deceiving though. So for instance, if the household income that you have is from 2019, but they just
Mhm.
put in a bunch of new subdivisions that may not be all that accurate. Or sometimes if you just look at the 1 mile, but within the 1 mile you're surrounded by a bunch of retail,
Yeah.
then it may not be as accurate. So
Mhm.
we look at a lot of those things. They're not always super black and white. There's a lot of gray there, so there
Yeah.
is still a little bit of an art to it, I'd say. But those are a lot of the things that we look at. And then there's some deals that we've looked at that are right on the freeway. And
Mhm.
so, we drove it or we toured it. We're like, man, I would, if I put my tent hat on, I'm like, I wouldn't want to live here. It's too loud.
Yeah.
Or we've looked at some deals that looked like they were in a pretty good location, but this one deal I was thinking of, actually a pretty decent area,
Mhm.
but there was a motel on each side of it,
Mm.
and so you drove by, and not to be whatever, but there's a lot of foot traffic right there. and
Mhm.
and if I'm looking at that complex versus another one where there's no foot
Right.
traffic, I'm going over there.
Right.
So anyways, just try to be smart about it. Obviously, if it's next to schools or churches and things like that, which generally brings stability to an area, we like things like that a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's great, wise wisdom to share for sure. Um, and so Dustin, you mentioned you're mostly concentrated in Texas, most of your property is in Texas, yeah. And why do you kind of particular pick that market? And yeah, and why do you generally kind of pick that
Yeah, so I
market?
mean, we're here. So I'm in DFW, and then our my business partner is from Houston but lives in DFW now. And so
Hmm.
kind of our two main markets right now are Houston and DFW. Houston, frankly, we have more traction down there.
Hmm.
Numbers are not quite as tight as they are in DFW. So
Hmm.
we like Austin and San Antonio as well, but we're just not that active there. But yeah, we like Houston and DFW quite a bit. They both those metros led the country in terms of growth the past 10 years, and that's only supposed to continue for the next 10. So
Yeah,
we're here. All of our resources are in both those markets, so it makes a whole lot of sense for us to focus on those two.
definitely.